A man was enjoying his meal at a bar when he got annoyed by a woman in a blazer who was loudly talking on her phone. Frustrated, he called over the bartender and said, "I'm buying food and drinks for everyone here except that woman." The bartender took his money and served food and drinks to everyone except the woman. But instead of getting upset, she briefly paused her phone call, looked at the man and said thank you. Then she calmly resumed her conversation. The man was even more irritated. He pulled out his wallet again and said, "All right then, I'll buy the most expensive. Dessert for everyone except the woman in the blazer." Once again, the bartender served desserts to everyone but her. And once again, she smiled at the man and said, "Thank you." Now fuming, the man stormed over to the bartender and demanded, "What's with this woman? I've been buying food and drinks for everyone except her, and instead of getting mad, she keeps thanking me. Is she crazy?" The bartender chuckled and said, "No, sir, she's not crazy. She owns this place." A drunk man walked into a bar and shouted, "Bartender, a drink for everyone, one for me and one for you." The bartender poured the drinks and everyone in the bar cheered. But when the bill arrived, the man said, "Oh, I forgot my wallet, sorry." Angry, the bartender punched the man and immediately threw him out. The next night, the drunk man returned to the bar. "Bartender!" he yelled. "A drink for everyone, one for me and one for you." The bartender thought, maybe he's here to pay for last night's bill. I'll give him a chance. So he poured the drinks again, and once more the crowd cheered. But when the bill came, the man said again, "Oops, I forgot my wallet again. Sorry." This time the bartender was even angrier. He punched the man even harder and threw him out again. On the third night, the bartender was shocked to see the man walk into the bar once more. The man shouted, "Bartender, a drink for everyone and one for me." The bartender, now irritated, smirked and said, "Oh, so no drink for me tonight?" The drunk man replied, "Nah, you get too violent when you drink." The three best secret agents in the world, from France, Germany, and Italy, were captured on the same day. The kidnappers took the French agent to another room, tied his hands behind a chair, and began torturing him. After 2 hours of torture, he finally gave in and revealed all his secrets. Next, it was the German agent's turn. Just like before, they tied his hands behind the chair and started torturing him. 2 hours passed, and he remained silent. But after 4 hours, he couldn't take it anymore and ended up spilling all the information. Finally, they brought in the Italian agent. His hands were also tied behind the chair, and they began torturing him. 2 hours passed, and he didn't say a word. 4 hours passed, and he was still silent. Even after 12 hours, he refused to speak. The kidnappers eventually gave up and threw him back into his cell. The French and German agents were impressed. They asked, "How did you hold out for so long?" "We only lasted 2 and 4 hours. "What's your secret?" The Italian agent replied, "I actually wanted to talk, but I couldn't move my hands." A man woke up and found himself lying alone in a hospital room. He tried to remember what had happened, but he had no recollection of how he got there. As he struggled to make sense of his situation, the phone beside his bed suddenly rang. He picked it up, and it was a doctor calling him. The doctor said, "I have bad news for you. You're seriously ill after you passed out yesterday. We ran a series of tests to determine your condition. The results just came in this morning. Unfortunately, you've been diagnosed with bird flu, Ebola, HIV, and hepatitis." Hearing this, the man was shocked. He paused for a moment, then asked, "So, what's the next step, Doc?" "What are you going to do for me?" The doctor replied, "As a first step, we're putting you on a strict diet. From now on, you're only allowed to eat pizza." Even more confused, the man asked, "Pizza? Will that really help cure me, Doc?" The doctor answered, "No, but it's the only food we can slide under your door." A billionaire was hosting a party at his mansion. He said to all the guests, "I'll bet 10 billion rupias that no one here dares to jump into my pool, which has a 15-foot crocodile in it." Just as he finished speaking, suddenly, there was a loud splash. Everyone turned to see John already in the pool, fighting the crocodile with everything he had. He threw punches, wrestled, and slammed the crocodile like a martial arts master. He even tossed it into the air. Finally, John managed to choke the crocodile until it was completely motionless. Exhausted, he climbed out of the pool. While everyone stared at him in disbelief, the billionaire said, "Well, I guess I owe you 10 billion. "Ah, no need, man," John replied. The billionaire insisted, "Come on, let me give you something. How about a brand new Porsche or a luxury watch?" John shook his head. "No, thanks." Confused, the billionaire asked, "Then what do you want?" John replied, "I just want to know who the hell pushed me." A young woman was looking for a new boyfriend. She had been on several dates but hadn't found the right guy yet. Frustrated and on the verge of giving up, she suddenly had an idea. She went to the local newspaper office and handed the clerk a note. "Can you place this ad in the paper?" The note read, "Looking for a new boyfriend. Must meet 3 requirements. 1. Must not be abusive. 2. Must never run away from me. 3. Must be great in bed." The next day, her doorbell started ringing non-stop. She met several men, but none of them were a good fit. Just as she was about to lose hope, the doorbell rang again. She opened the door and saw a man with no arms and no legs sitting on her doorstep. Confused, she asked, "Can I help you?" The man smiled and said, "Hi, I'm here to be your new boyfriend." Shocked, she asked, "And what makes you think you're the right guy for me?" He confidently replied, "Well, I don't have arms, so I can't be abusive. And I don't have legs, so I can't run away from you." The woman thought for a moment and then asked, "Okay, but how do I know you're great in bed?" The man grinned and said, "Well, how do you think I rang the doorbell?" A woman walked into a pharmacy and approached the pharmacist. She looked him straight in the eye and calmly said, "I need to buy some cyanide." Shocked, the pharmacist asked, "Ma'am, why on earth do you need cyanide?" With a serious expression, the woman replied, "I need it to poison my husband." The pharmacist gasped and nearly dropped the bottle he was holding. "Oh my God! Do you even realize what you're saying? I can't give you cyanide to kill your husband. That's illegal. I could lose my license. We could both go to jail. This is serious." "Absolutely not. I will not sell you cyanide." The woman silently reached into her purse and pulled out a photograph. She handed it to the pharmacist. It was a picture of her husband, in bed with the pharmacist's wife. The pharmacist looked at the photo, sighed, and said, "Oh, well, now that you have a prescription, why didn't you just say so?"